Hello, welcome to Dundrolls Podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today we're doing our Mecha anime review. This time we're reviewing the Mobile Suit Gundam movie, Gundam F91, which came out in 1991, 3 years after Char's counterattack. This is made by Studio Ghibli, right? And is directed by and written by Yoshiyuki Tomino. Character designs by Yoshikazu Yasuhiko with mechanical design by Kunio Okuwara, right? This movie is about 2 hours, right? And this movie gets a lot of flack from fans. Mostly because the movie is a bit incomprehensible. I don't know if that's exactly the word, but it's basically what happened. This was supposed to be a series, right? This takes place in UC. This show takes place in UC 123, which I think this is before, sometime after Neo Zeon, but before the events of Victory Gundam, I think. I would have to double check on that. Right? Which Victory Gundam came out, I think, in '94, so I could be right on that. Right? I think it was. Yeah. So yeah, this movie was supposed to be a 52 episode series, but for some reason Sunrise or Bandai was like, yeah, make it into a movie. Right? Which is what Tomino did, and because of that, a lot of stuff was rushed, and a lot of character motivations are not exactly thought out. Like, stuff happens, and you have like just throwaway lines by characters to make sense of that. Which, by the way, I don't have any Gundam F91 model kits, but I do have this Crossbone X1, which Gundam Crossbone is the sequel to Gundam F91, which is funny because at the end of the movie, it was like, this is only the beginning, right? And I'm like, is it? And like, oh yeah, they made a sequel manga, right? Yeah. So the story is about this. The main character, Seabrook Arno, who is an engineering student at this space colony called Frontier 4, if I'm not mistaken, which on the day of a festival, they get attacked by this army called the Crossbone Vanguard, which is led by this family of upstart aristocrats who believe that they're basically Neo Zeon again, right? And like, you have this like grandfather who's like the philosopher, and his son who is called Iron Mask, who's basically, I think you can see him right here. He's basically like a Darth Vader ripoff, though he's probably closer to like what's his name, Kylo Ren, because like, his wife left him for another man, and like, his daughter, who's all grown up, who's voiced by Michelle Ruff, if I'm not mistaken, and our main character is voiced by Steve Cannon, right? Her name's Cecilia, right? And like, they didn't just attack the colony to capture it. They also were there for her, right? Because she's the granddaughter of the founder of Crossbone Vanguard, right? And the daughter of Iron Mask, which she also has a brother, right? Who's a mobile suit pilot for Crossbone Vanguard, which I don't remember exactly what happened to him, right? Which he was kind of a lame antagonist, right? I don't even think he was a new type, which Cecilia is, and like her father's a cyber new type, which means an artificial new type, which people don't know what new types are. They're basically like the Jedi of Gundam, where they have psychic powers and they can like pilot mobile suits effortlessly, right? So yeah, what happens is that Seabrook and his friends um, tried to flee the colony in like the F90 Gundam, which is in tank mode and never transforms, right? Which, if you ever played the Gundam F91 Super Famicom game, you would see that it was very similar to the Strike Gundam, where it had different loadouts, right? You can see that in the model kits, right? So it was very much like Gundam C was kind of like, they kind of aped the Gundam F90 and F91, right, designs, right, wise, which, the Gundam F91 very much looks very similar to the Strike Freedom, but instead of having like 4 blasters, it only has like 2, right? Which just like in Victory Gundam, you have the Air G shields, right? Which can turn into swords, right? Which was pretty cool. Yeah. So what ends up happening is Seabrook and their friends get basically stranded on this like refugee ship by the Federation, and they're forced to fight alongside the Federation against Crossbone Vanguard, which Arno Seabrook, his mother, also there's family drama in this movie as well, because like Seabrook's mother designed the Gundam, and she kind of left her family to go build weapons of war, which really bothers Seabrook, especially since one of his friends, Arthur, dies really early in the movie, who's voiced by Joshua Seth, I think. Joshua Seth. Which, if you're a fan of Digimon, you'll recognize a lot of the voice actors. I think I heard like Sarah and Steve Cannon also voiced a lot of voices in Tamers and Frontier. I think he was Koji in Frontier. I could be wrong. He was the Warrior of Light guy, right? So I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie, despite the fact that like a lot of stuff was rushed in the movie. The F90 is not even in the movie basically, and like our main character doesn't really fight until like an hour in, like till almost like 50 minutes in the movie, right? And he gets in his first fight, first mobile suit battle, right? And he's able to defeat like three mobile suits in like a manner of what seems like seconds, and the enemy runs away. Which, people gotta understand, like Amuro Ray in his first battle like defeated like 3 mobile suits as well, but that was over like half an episode, where here they're obviously pressed for time. Like there's even like a subplot where there's this guy named Fabin, who's kind of like the Char clone, right? Where he's like a guy with an eye patch, who's like put in charge of protecting Cecilia, who has his own faction, who's not a fan of the ruling family of Crossbone Vanguard, which is the Ronas, right? And there's like a subplot where one of his pilots, who was a girl, gets jealous of Cecilia, and basically becomes a turncoat, joins our group of friends, right? Our group of characters, and fighting for the Federation, and immediately gets killed. So it was like, what the fuck, man? Like a lot of shit. Like if you're not paying attention, you'll miss a bunch of stuff. like I said, this is like I just watched this movie and I don't even remember what happened to her brother, right? Some things I want to mention. Some people might not like the mech designs in this series, in this movie, because they basically look like the enemy mobile suits have like lances, and they're like old fashioned and stuff. Which I don't know. I thought it made sense. And then there's the fact that the Federation has a really bad track record with melee like focused mobile suits, which because like they use like general purpose mobile suits, like they use like short like beam rifles and like beam sabers. They tend to lose a lot with like mobile suits that tend to be like close combat focused, like the Zaku's from Xeon and like stuff like stuff you know like mobile suits like that. Here, like obviously they have lances and stuff, so they look very heavily armored, right? Which it's only like our main characters like Gundam, who has like beam cannons on its back that's able to effectively defeat them. They're using like like air G shields while beam shields while like the Federation's J-Guns are still using physical shields, right, which are not as effective as the beam shields, right. One problem I have with the movie, right, is I was not a fan of the main villains. I thought the fight at the end of the movie between Seabrook and Iron Mask and Cecilia was great, but I was not a fan of the Raphaelia, which is like basically like this mobile armor that's like that Iron Mask pilots. That basically looks like a flower. I don't know. I thought that was lame, man. Would have been nice if they gave him like a mobile suit. It could have been part mobile suit, part mobile armor, like the Neo Zeong, right? From Gundam Unicorn, right? Yeah, so like I was not a fan of that, but overall I enjoyed this movie. But like I said, it has a very fast pace, and it is like a war film, so it's like it gets pretty dark. You see lots of civilians die, including women and children, right? And yeah, so like if you have a problem, there are like, and that's the thing where this movie's like very dark. It's very much in the theme of like Victory Gundam and like Gundam Zeta, where like yeah you have the kid characters, but they don't really bring a lot of lightheartedness into the movie, right? But that's because yeah it has a fast pace. But like yeah, I did enjoy this, and if I were to give this a rating, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. All right. Yeah, I think if you're a Gundam fan, it's worth watching at least once, right? Yeah, so that's it for this review, guys. Also, there's this YouTube channel called Good Student who does live streams talking about like mecha anime, including Gundam. He did a Char counterattack live stream, and he's doing like Gundam F91 live stream tomorrow, right? Make sure to check that out after you watch the movie, right? Yeah, because like I thought his like they did like a live stream on Char's counterattack, and I thought it was very insightful, right? Hopefully they do like a live stream on the fourth Evangelion rebuilt movie, which I've been watching live stream reviews on that, and apparently I don't know. I think I have to change my mind on whether or not I like that movie or not, because apparently Mari, which I thought was random as hell when like Shinji hooks up with her at the end of the movie. Apparently she's like based off like Hideki Anno's like real life wife, and it's like what the fuck, dude? What the fuck, man? Like oh my god. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. That's all.